Recently, Supreme and Nike teamed up to revive a silhouette that really didn't need to be revived, the Nike Zoom Streak Spectrum Plus, and honestly, they didn't do much to change the shoe. This lightweight early 2000s model comes back virtually unchanged from its original Nike version with one or two Supreme branding touches around the sneaker. And yes, if you have never seen the original Nike version of the shoe, the flames were also there. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the latest Supreme and Nike collaboration on the Zoom Streak Spectrum Plus. Right off the bat, I think we've got a very strong contender for worst sneaker of the year. This shoe, I mean, what were they thinking? I just posted an unboxing and initial thoughts on this shoe on my Instagram TV account @RealSethFowler. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, sort of a behind the scenes look of my first impressions on this sneaker, make sure to follow me on Instagram @RealSethFowler. But if you saw that video or any of my previous tweets or anything that I've said about this shoe, I've never liked this sneaker. I think it's just complete garbage. And that's being nice. I think the only flames that this sneaker deserves are actual flames. I'm really dreading doing this review because there's not one thing on this sneaker that I like. I mean, I'm just warning you guys of that now. There's not one redeeming element on this sneaker. This Supreme Nike garbage bag retailed for 160 bucks, which is way more money than I think it's worth. Even just picking up the shoe, you instantly notice that this isn't a quality product. This is like a Ross discount product, but that's neither here nor there. That's definitely not the worst part of the shoe. I'm on this shoe now, but I'm the one who spent the money on it, so it's really on me. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the Nike Zoom Streak Spectrum Plus. Starting off on the sneaker, like I said at the beginning of the video, this collaboration, in my opinion, is a little lazy because all Supreme really did was add Supreme logos around the shoe. They didn't actually change the materials or the design of the sneaker. This shoe comes in pretty much its true OG, unfortunate original design. Starting off around the toe of the sneaker, you've got this really thin white leather panel. It's got 4 perforation holes on the edge of the toe. I don't know why they're there. They look terrible and they probably don't do anything for ventilation. You've also got these tiny little 3M strips in the front, which probably don't do anything. Continuing back on the shoe, and believe me, I don't want to because this is by far the worst part of the sneaker. This really cheap mesh with even cheaper flame printing. The quality of the mesh is terrible. It's extremely thin, probably not very durable, and somehow even though it's extremely thin, it's still really hot when you're wearing it on your foot. It also creases really quickly, which I didn't think mesh could really do. I wore this outside for like 5 minutes for the on-foot shot, and the other shoe is already creased. Like when I first unboxed the shoe, I was like, how can this get any worse? And then that happened and it's like, oh, okay. Before I even get to the design that's printed on the shoe, let me talk about the printing quality itself. It's pretty poorly done. I mean, printing on wide mesh in general is just not a great idea because there's not really any definition around the outside of shapes because you just don't have any surface area. This dark purple line that sort of outlines these flames really sort of just fades into nothingness. It's not really sharp or clean or anything like that. It almost looks like it's been sweated on a little bit and faded. The actual gradient from yellow to purple, doesn't seem that bad. It's smooth. It doesn't look like there's any mistakes that I can see. Okay, yeah, there is actually. On these 2 little panels here on the corner of the toe, it looks like some of the flames, like the outside lines, do line up. However, the color doesn't match. Like it goes from dark red to purple right off the bat, where as you can see on the very tip of the toe, it's still in yellow and orange colors. So it creates this really weird sort of contrast and kind of takes away from the overall gradient look of the shoe. Weird oversight there. I'm not sure why they didn't just use the same piece of fabric all the way across. Maybe they did, maybe that's just how it's printed. But if that is how it's printed, could have been done better. Now getting back to the design of the shoe, obviously this came out in the early 2000s. I was like 10 or 11 in 2002, around when this came out. And even then, I don't know if I would have worn this. This reminds me of like my Walmart dirt bike from when I was 4. I honestly would love to know if this actually sold. I'd be really interested to know because who would buy this? Because with this collaboration, I feel like Supreme is doing it a little bit ironically. Like it's a dad shoe and it's got this ridiculous pattern, and Supreme does stuff like that, like ironic sort of ridiculous stuff. But back then, I don't think it was meant to be ironic. I think it was just a shoe. I don't know how much this shoe retailed for when it first released, but I certainly hope it wasn't $160 or honestly anything over $100 because I just don't know who would spend that money on this shoe. The flame graphic alone is enough for me to just not like this sneaker at all, but the fact that it's paired with this just awful mesh just makes it that much worse. As you continue back on the toe, you get to this really thin white synthetic leather. This leather panel continues back on the shoe and sort of splits into different lines that sort of outline different parts of the shoe. The center of this leather panel is also padded, which is weird, and it also creases. I mean, it creased right out of the box. I hadn't even worn it by this point, and it was already pretty badly creased in the heel. Moving up the shoe, you get to this short black nubuck panel, which has some of the eyelets for the laces. And speaking of the laces, this was a total surprise to me. This is something that I just never expected. The laces are sparkly. Like, they straight up, they've got this silver like thread running through them. They sparkle. They look like, I mean, they just look terrible. These laces single-handedly make this shoe look feminine. You could put monster trucks on the side of the shoe. You could make this bright yellow with like construction trucks and like, I don't know, guy stuff on it. And these laces would make the shoe look feminine. Like, this looks like a 6-year-old tomboy shoe. Like, that's what it looks like. And it's horrible. I mean, this is the worst. Why did they do that with the laces? I mean, this not only looks bad, but it also makes the shoe feel that much cheaper. Like, this is dollar store lace quality. This is terrible. If somehow you still like the shoe up to the laces and the laces threw it off for you, the good news is that this actually comes with a pair of just regular white laces if you want to switch them out. I will never be putting this back on my feet, so that's not a problem for me, but you know, if it's something that you want to rock, I definitely suggest switching out the laces. Underneath the ridiculous laces, you've got this lightly padded white mesh tongue. At the top of the tongue, you find one of the only 3 Supreme hits on the entire shoe, and this is by far the biggest. It's this red plastic Supreme blob. This is like the main differentiating feature between this shoe and the original, and this is absolutely why they jacked up the price, because of this stupid tag. Does nothing for me. Just there. In full disclosure, it actually might have looked better without this tag. Like, that just adds another bump to the top of the tongue, which is just like, why do they already have 3? I don't know, but there's a 4th now and it says Supreme on it. On the back of the tongue, you've got this red mesh, which is like a slightly lighter shade of red than the rest of the shoe, so it just doesn't really match. The sock liner of the sneaker is wrapped in this extremely stiff, hot and sticky red leather. I don't know why they ever thought that that'd be a good idea on the inside of a running shoe. Not only does it really hurt your ankles, but it also gets stupid hot. And like I said, for the 5 minutes I wore this shoe, that genuinely bothered me. Really weird touches like that just make this shoe worse. Like, I hate to keep saying this, and I hate being like biased about this shoe. I guess I'm not biased. Like, genuinely, this shoe sucks. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I have no nostalgia towards this shoe. I'm not like a diehard Supreme head that just loves everything Supreme makes. There's nothing redeeming about this shoe, so I'm finding all these little things that make it worse. But you need to actually like wear this shoe and have this shoe just to understand sort of what I'm experiencing right now. After you get past the ridiculous red leather sock liner, you find this red insole with Nike's branding and Supreme's branding. Surprise, surprise, the insole also has purple flames on it, because why not at this point? As for fit, the shoe does fit true to size. It's not comfortable, but it fits true to size. The one thing about the fit that was nice was that the shoe is very light, which, like I said before, really makes it feel like a very cheap shoe, but it's very light. Other than that, I'm gonna keep this as far away from my feet as I possibly can. This is about as close as I'm willing to get. Not something I just need to ever wear again. Continuing back on the sneaker, you get to this classic red plasticky Nike swoosh with black stitching all the way around. I actually have nothing bad to say about that part of the shoe. Go figure. In fact, if you were to just look at this part of the shoe, I actually think that's not a bad look. Like, there's some lines in there that are pretty nice, and then you do this and it's like, it's back. As you continue farther back, you have another mesh panel with some more flames. Moving around to the heel of the sneaker, you surprisingly find another angle which actually isn't that bad. It has the nice retro Nike vibes to it, which I don't mind. You've got your white mesh at the top, you've got this slightly tumbled white leather panel with a red Nike swoosh. Just below that, you've got your short black nubuck, and in the center of that, you've got your last Supreme hit with a Supreme globe that says Supreme World Famous on it. This patch does come in 3M, which I actually don't mind. I think that's kind of a nice touch. I'm really trying to be as unbiased as possible, guys. Like, I'm really trying. I'm trying to find like the good parts of this shoe, and this is one of them. Moving down the sneaker, you get to your classic Nike Zoom Streak Spectrum Plus midsole and outsole. Classic, again, is in quotation marks because who had this shoe? I'm sure people had that. Like, that probably sounds bad. Like, I don't mean to like be hating on you guys for having this shoe, but like, come on. The midsole comes primarily in white with, I guess, some nice like sculptural elements to it. You get some nice like lines in the front. You know, that's a plus. You've got your nice little Zoom Air sticker there on the heel. It is a sticker though, so it'll probably come off pretty quickly if you start wearing the shoe. Finally, moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you get to these 3 red traction panels with like these tri-point shapes on them for added traction. You've got these black rubber, more or less flat panels on the heel. And then in the center of the outsole, you've got this plastic midfoot plate with the blue Nike swoosh. That pretty much covers all the details on the shoe. I guess in conclusion, I'll start with the good points. You can wear it on your feet. It protects your foot from some elements, not all. Rain is gonna go right through this shoe. The back of it's nice. Hey, if you like Supreme, you got a couple hits. Not many, but a couple. The swoosh is nice. You know? Now to the stuff I don't like as much, which, if I'm honest, is the entire shoe. This shoe is just $160 of wasted time, because you probably worked hard for your money. The overall materials and feel of the shoe is terrible. I reviewed a $25 Amazon shoe maybe a month or 2 ago, and I would genuinely pick that shoe over this shoe, both in material quality, looks, and price. The stock laces on this shoe take it from a 1 out of 10 to a -2 out of 10, which I didn't think was possible, but they really did. Genuinely, I had really low expectations for this shoe, and I opened the box and they were just shattered. I mean, this was so many times worse than I could have ever imagined. I feel bad for the people who saw pictures of the shoe online because you just had no idea these were coming, and that was a surprise which I will never forget. Oh, I remembered one last good thing about this shoe, and that's that this colorway is not the black colorway, because the black colorway is worse. But guys, that about wraps it up. I really have nothing else to say about this shoe. There's nothing else I want to say about this shoe, and if I had anything else to say about it, it would most certainly be bad. So if you like this shoe, I'm so sorry. I hate it. If you don't like this shoe, you know, preaching to the choir. So, thank you for watching. For you Supreme fanboys out there, I'd love to know your thoughts on this shoe and whether you actually like this sneaker or whether it's all hype for you. So make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Make sure to head on over to Instagram and give me a follow over there to check out my IGTV account at @RealSethFowler. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I did an unboxing and sort of initial thoughts on this shoe, and I plan to do that for a lot of other sneakers coming up. So if you guys want to get that sort of behind the scenes, first impressions look, make sure to follow me over there. But make sure to like this video if you liked it, even if you didn't like the shoes, or I guess vice versa. If you liked the shoes and didn't like the video, hit that dislike button, but whatever. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.